Okay, so this is the week 6 recording. So the first thing we're going to talk about is trimming. If my computer decides to load. Okay, so trimming allows you to trim objects at specified points, or where two objects cross, I should say. So for example, if I were to have that and that, so the trim command is right here. That's the button for it. The keyboard shortcut is TR. So there's a couple ways that you could do this. You can see at the bottom in the command line here that it says select all in the sideways arrows. The sideways arrows, just as a reminder, means previous input or something that you can just press enter and it'll enter whatever's already in that. So select all is really helpful for very small drawings, not good in very large scale drawings. In small drawings, it's easy because there's not much line work, not much for AutoCAD to think about. If it's a very large drawing, it typically takes a really long time to get the trim command going. So it's not, I don't personally recommend that, but just to show you, I hit enter, and you can see if you hover over any of the objects, then it grays out that section, and then it has an X next to your crosshairs. So that is that way of doing it. The other way, you could select, let's say if we wanted to make that same trim, you could select all of the objects this way that you would like to trim and trim it. Or the last way, the most efficient way, is if you know that you want to trim off this section that's highlighted here, then you just select this line because you know that's going to be your trimming line. And there you go, you trim it. So now, here is a cool trick that AutoCAD has. So the objects do not have to be touching. They can just be crossing or projected across from each other. So this line is lined up with this. They are perpendicular to each other. So when you do the trim command, and if you select all, you could trim off that, you could trim off this. There's no way to trim that part, but the other helpful thing, what you can do is if you hit shift while you are in the trim command and all of your objects are selected, you can actually extend, and we will talk about extend here momentarily. Okay, the next thing, as I just said, is the extend command. So if you press the down arrow just to the right of the trim command or trim command button, then you will see extend. So extend will make any line work longer to make it go to whatever line that you selected. And similarly to the trim command, you can also, how you were able to extend, you can also press shift to trim it. So again, down at the bottom is the little sideways arrows. You could hit enter to select all, but in this case, I'm not going to. So to extend, you select the object you're extending to, and then you select the object that you are wanting to extend. And so if the keyboard shortcut for extend is EX, so if you do select all and you hit shift, same thing. You can now trim the object. So with the trim command, you can trim any sort of object, circle, arc, polyline, line, rectangle, ellipse, any sort of line work you can trim. And if you had, let's say, a portion of a circle, so if you had that, and I will shorten this one a little bit, you could do extend, select this object. Oh, it doesn't seem to like that. Let's see, let's lengthen this one, extend. There you go. You can extend and trim any line work. The next thing we're going to talk about is move. The move command. And again, this works with any line work, any objects in your drawing. So this is the move button right here. So you select that, and then it'll ask for to select your base point. So your base point is the point that you select after you had selected your object. So in this case, I'm going to select the center object snap, and I'll move it anywhere I would like. So that is the move command, fairly simple. If you type M on your keyboard, enter, that is the same as selecting the button. That is a keyboard shortcut. Hit enter, and there you go. That is the move command. And then with displacement, displacement moves it from 0 or 0, 0, 0. And then I moved it 10. So I have never used displacement, but it is there if you wanted to use it. Next thing I'm gonna talk about is lengthen. Let me redo that. Oops. So I'm gonna make this line 1.5. So that's my line there. You can see that it is one length of 1.5 inches. So the lengthen command is somewhere in here. I am actually not sure. Oh, there it is, lengthen. I knew it was there. Okay, so the lengthen command allows you to lengthen a line to a specified amount, and there's various criteria. Delta is DE for delta. That is the amount, you would type in the amount that you want to lengthen it. So let's say my line is 1.5, I want to make it 3 inches long. I would type in 1.5 to make it 1.5 inches longer. Percent is lengthening it by a certain percent, make it, let's say, 25% longer, 50% longer. If you want to, you could do 100% longer and make it 3 inches long if you wanted to, but that's based on a certain percentage. The total will make, you would enter the total length that you want your line to be. So again, if I wanted it to be 4.5, I would type in 3 because I already have 1.5, so it would just total the entire line up to 4.5. And then dynamic. I am not sure on dynamic. I have never used dynamic. So that is my mistake. So moving along, next thing I'm going to talk about is oops, the oops command. So I'm going to delete this line, and let's say I didn't want to get rid of that. You can just type in oops. And that works basically the same as undo, which I will talk about next, but that only undoes the last line that you deleted, or last object you deleted. So let's say if it were a circle, delete that, type in oops, and it brings it back. As you can tell, I typed it in again and my line didn't come back. So that is the oops command. It'll just bring back previously deleted object, or the last object that was deleted. Whereas the undo command can do that. It can also, so I always do undo as Control Z. Undo will just keep on going. And the cool thing about undo, it also undoes zooms. So if you zoomed in and you do undo, it'll undo your zoom. And then the next thing we'll talk about is redo. That one is pretty self-explanatory. That redoes something that was just undone. So the other way to do redo is this right here, this button right here in your quick access toolbar. And redo, you can only go so far back, but undo goes a little bit further than that. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is the W polygon and the C polygon. So when you do a single click when no command is started, you'll get this thing here, your crossing window and your boundary window, for your crossing and your window. So then in the command line, you'll see W polygon and C polygon. So this allows you to do the same thing where you get the blue. So first I should explain what these do. So if you are on the right hand side of where you clicked initially, then you'll get this blue. This blue, you have that is the crossing, or the window. So that means with that you have to cross the entire object to select it. This is just an easy way to select objects. You go up to the right and down to the right for the window selection, and then for the crossing window, which it just has to the green square that you create just has to cross any object to select it. That is up to the left and down to the left. And if you click and drag and you start out going to the right, you will get a lasso, window lasso, and then you can get the crossing lasso. You go down to the left. That works the same way, but it's just freehand. So now back to W polygon and C polygon. So this allows you to do an odd shape, a shape that's not a rectangle. So that is the W polygon for window. And then C polygon uses the crossing, but any shape that you choose to make. So that is that. And this is your, for the next one, it's fence. So this is the, oh, my bad. That's not what that was. So what fence does is it allows you to create a line, and if the line crosses any object, then it selects that object. So that is fence. In previous ones, we have talked about this before for changing selection. So I have this object here that is drawn, or that polyline there that is drawn on layer 0. This one is drawn on my center layer. So if I select both objects, changing the selection set, you can hit Shift and select your object, and it'll deselect whatever object is on top. And we will talk about draw order in the future. But that is that one, or that is changing selection set. So next thing we're going to talk about is select similar. So for that, I'm going to put in a couple different types of objects. So I have 2 polylines here. I got 1 line, and I'll do a circle. So an easy and quick way to select similar objects is by using the select similar command. So I selected this polyline here, as you can see there. And then if you right click and all the way at the bottom of it, you can select similar, and it'll select all similar objects on the same layer and the same object type. So this is now drawn on the center layer, and I will do select similar, and as you can see, did not select that line. And for this one here, I'll do select similar, but nothing else was selected because I only have 1 line. And same thing with this circle. And that is select similar. Last thing that we talk about is quick select. Did that way too quickly. So quick select allows you to select lots of objects based on certain criteria that you choose. So the quick select is right here, and it is somewhere else. Not sure entirely. But I do know that it is right here. So, or you could just type in quick select. So when you select quick select, it will bring up this quick select dialog box. So you have a few different options for right now. For this drawing, I only have the entire drawing. Select the object type. So currently my object types are polyline, line, and circle, or you could do multiple, more than one. And you can do it by select the objects by color, layer, line type, scale, plot style, line weight, transparency, or hyperlink. So I'll do select it by layer. And you could do not equal to, not equal to, or select all. So I'll do equal to layer 0. As you can see, it selected all of these objects because these are all on layer 0. And there's all sorts of data types that you can use, but those are a couple of the basics for that. And that is week number 6.